Oh, got some light came through. Good morning, everybody. How we doing on this fine Tuesday? Welcome to the Premarket Prep session. This is our daily session where we go over all the important news, notes, trade ideas necessary to keeping you consistently profitable here in these market streets. I'm your host, Adam Holland, stock options expert and expert market strategist. And we're here to do one thing and one thing only. Throw our book bag in the corner there. But that is get 1% better daily. That's the goal each and every time we step into this space. Before that, Wall Street bell rings and we go about executing, getting 1% better daily. That's the goal. So that's what we're doing here, making sure that we are aware of what's going on in the world as well as how to leverage that, right? You need the information and you need the systems in order to leverage that information. And both of those, right, are what you get here within that community, this community. And if you're not actively putting your money to work for you in markets, right? If you're not understanding how markets work, when we have SPY and QQQ reaching, new all-time highs last week and then, hitting upper price targets and money flows out of those as they retrace, right? Stocks don't just go straight up. They've got to come back down, catch their breath. And where does the money flow? When the big caps and the big indexes hit their marks and hit their price targets, which we made money from. They fall into the small caps, right? IWM, which is the Russell 2000, and that was the thesis last week, and that thesis is paid very handsomely as IWM has had a clean big breakout to the upside and has paid us very nicely since then. You don't just sporadically know that, right? Coming into markets and knowing what you should trade and when you should trade. Success leaves clues. You want to follow those clues. You want to utilize that system, utilize that mindset so that you are continuously putting yourself in the realm of opportunity, right? It's not just luck that I know that these things happen when they happen, right? Thousands of hours spent, me, right? Thousands of dollars spent by me over the course of years and years and years and years, learning and growing, using these exact systems, doing the little things like I convey to you guys each and every day. That's what made the difference. There was a while where I didn't do the little things. And what happened? I was caught in this circle of just boom and bust account, boom and bust account, boom and bust account. And it was the small things that got me out of that and allowed me to, really, really make revolutionary changes when it came to me and my money multiplication goals and the scope of which I'm understanding everything. And I'm glad that it did at that time because it allows me to now, with a larger portfolio, really take advantage of what's going on with this AI proliferation and explosion, right? Which is by far going to be the biggest next gold rush that's already happening. And I'm glad that I did the little things so I was in position for when another huge opportunity came along to really, really set myself up. And that's all that we're doing here each and every day is making sure that we're taking advantage of the opportunities coming along and continuing to do the little things to set us up for even bigger opportunities in the future, right? So throw that one in the chat signifying your intention to get 1% better by the end of this session. That's what we're looking to do each and every day. And if you do that, you really start to see amazing things happen, in your life. You go from bringing in tens of dollars a day to hundreds of dollars a day to thousands of dollars a day, right? Tens of thousands of dollars potentially per day, millions. No one's stopping you, right? The sky's the limit. But it all starts with an investment made in yourself, right? And that commitment to yourself. So let's get to it. I'm excited to get after it here today. Like I said, started off the week very, very hot. Mara came through as the crypto related stock started moving and doubled our money literally in under 2 hours, right? Mara started breaking out. I've been watching that breakout for a while, watching for it. We gapped up, right? Started the breakout and Mara doubled our money in less than 2 hours. So it wasn't just one play, it was like 4 or 5 plays, right? Happening, swings that were coming to fruition. Even Apple making its way up to daily price target too. So many different things paying. It's important to remember to pay yourself, maintain expectations, right? Correct expectations, and continue to be level headed this week. We'll see what opportunities are there, but we're not letting that money burn a hole through our pockets, right? Now, our top news, prime time. The macro economy can be highlighted by many micro events, and one of them is on tap over the next 48 hours. While there have been concerns about the retail sector in recent months as the last wave of pent-up pandemic savings comes to an end, so far the expenditures seem to be holding up fine. The success of Amazon Prime Day will be another data point to consider on that front, with consumer spending expected to be healthy amid cooling inflation and a tight labor market. Now, new record online transactions over the 2-day event are forecast to increase 10.5% year over year to $14 billion, according to Adobe Analytics, which measures e commerce transaction data. Now, strong spending is likely to be driven by steeper discounts, which could range as high as 22%. Adobe also expects electronics to have the biggest discounts at 22% versus a discounting level last year of 14%, with other significant deals likely for apparel, home furniture, toys, and sporting goods. The shopping holiday is anticipated to generate strong back to school spending online this year, due in part to the slightly later date on the calendar for Amazon Prime Day. Discounts and promos are available on millions of items across more than 35 product categories, including lightning deals that sell out fast or expire in just a few hours. Some even liken the bonanza to the new Black Friday, but with a lot less chaos and waiting in line, although that is challenging as well. Now, shopping cart Amazon's level of discounting could have an impact on other companies in the retail sector, ranging from Nordstrom, whose ticker is JWN, to Target, whose ticker is TGT, which also conduct big sales during the same period to compete with Prime Day. Shares of Amazon are at 45% over the past year, and the stock is just, quote, swimming in catalysts. It needs catalysts to break out of this, consolidation that it's been seeing over the course of I don't know how many sessions, right? Amazon has been one that's been on the back burner because it can get a breakout over a certain level, but it just keeps rejecting that level. So we're waiting. Maybe Prime Day is the catalyst that puts it above, but if they're swimming in catalyst, one of them should be able to plunge it off that diving board, right, and start to get it moving here. Um, Again, knowing how to read the charts is really important. It's why I'm not worried about Amazon because I'm not sitting in Amazon waiting for it to break out because I didn't get it in the first place because it did not get the breakout, right? That's why we can't let, feelings or some type of confirmation bias or anything like that. You want to eliminate the words hope and feeling and all of that. Anything that is not quantitative, anything that you cannot measure, you want to completely get rid of when it comes to operating in markets, right? You gotta get rid of anything that cannot be measured because it is holding you back. This isn't a place where of hope, right? This isn't a place of like, oh well, it's just no, right? You want to be able to explain with logic each and every move that you make when you are operating in markets. And if you can't, you're probably not operating in the correct way, right? So that's, people learn that with Amazon. They're sitting there and they're waiting, they're waiting. Oh, Amazon's so close, is about to bust out. I'm gonna be in here now. And then, we had that sell-off that happened on Friday and absolutely destroyed anyone that was in Amazon calls, so let the charts tell you what's going on. Wait for the charts to give you the green light and then execute. If you do so beforehand, right, then you will learn lessons and continue to learn lessons. Um, Looking ahead, Adobe even sees $229 billion worth of online spending in Q3, which is up 7.2% year over year, on top of the $503 billion, which is up 7.4%, spent by US consumers in the first 6 months of 2024. So, Prime Day coming up, right? Prime Day, I guess, happening. Yeah, I'd say the same thing to everyone else. I've never been a big Prime Day guy. Don't get sucked into spending money that you don't have to spend. That's just my big stock takeaway. Not even stock takeaway, just life takeaway from this. Just because it's on sale doesn't mean that you can afford it, right? I'll say it again. Just because it's on sale doesn't mean that you can afford it, which is really, really, really important. Um, that doesn't mean you have to buy it. Everybody says, "Oh, it was on sale, so I just had to get it." No, you quite literally didn't. They didn't walk into your pocket and stick their hand in there and take it out. So just remember that as you go about your day and all that. Do you really need it or do you not need it? Could that money be doing more for you in markets? Then you look up and you're like, "Oh, I ended up spending $500 on Prime Day," and it's like for what, right? For what? When you could take that $500, put it in IWM calls and crush it, right? Take that $500 and double it, turn it into $1,000 yesterday in 2 hours in Mara, right? So once you understand the power of your money, you kind of stop spending it on like smaller, more superfluous things, which is a realization I got to. It's like if I don't need that right now and I'm young and I'm living life and I'm fine where I'm at, like there's no reason to dump more into it if it's really not going to drastically improve my quality of life. So just think about that as you go through Prime Day. Try not to go too crazy, right? Trending news, running mate over at the RNC. Donald Trump selected Ohio Senator J.D. Vance as his running mate in the presidential election, sending shares of Rumble up as much as 29% on Monday. They were already up, but if you remember, Rumble is also something that I mentioned yesterday before he even made the announcement, which is crazy. Once again, right? Literally during this session, the pre-market prep session yesterday, I talked about how Rumble was moving, on the back of kind of what went on over the weekend with Trump and all that. And then Rumble up 30%, right? As he announces his VP candidate, and the VP candidate, has a significant stake in Rumble. He only has a few holdings. But one of them is Rumble, right? So Vance is an investor in the conservative focused media platform, and his stake may be worth around $1.5 million at current levels. Meanwhile, Trump Media and Technology, ticker DJT, was up 31% after the assassination attempt on Trump, as well as the dismissal of the DOJ's classified documents case against the former president. With the events boosting his popularity, here are 5 stocks to play the Trump trade. So that's where we're at with things, right? Running mate announced. I don't really know much about the guy. I know he wrote some books. Um, yeah, and then Rumble up and pushing. I haven't taken a look at Rumble this morning, but you know how I feel about all those DJT as well as Rumble. Any of those kind of like semi meme stock types. Just make sure that you understand the extra elevated risk when you go in, and then as long as you do, right, then you're all good. Economic news, not waiting. Recent data has added to the Fed's confidence that inflation is moving sustainably toward 2%, according to Jerome Powell. Although the central bank may not hold out until things end up there. That was really key news from yesterday, right? Quote, the implication of this is that if you wait until inflation gets all the way down to 2%, you've probably waited too long, because the tightening that you're doing, or the level of tightness that you have, is still having effects, which will probably drive inflation below 2%. Powell said at an event hosted by the Economic Club of Washington, D.C. He also added that getting the right balance between easing too early or easing too late is what keeps him up at night. Yeah, Jerome, it keeps us all up at night, right? Figure out what the heck you're doing. We were grocery shopping yesterday. We leave. I'm like, oh, let's swing by, Chick-fil-A and grab some milkshakes. The peach milkshake just came out, and it was, just one of those things. Oh, nice little treat, something after a bunch of running around, post work day, and literally just 2 shakes, like 11 bucks. And there's not many times, to be honest, where like I hear like prices and it's like, wow, like that made me really realize how high inflation is. I'm more of the type where I'm just again focused on expanding, right? Expanding my avenues of income and my revenue rivers, and making sure that I'm constantly honing skills that are very, very valuable and monetizable, right? And people pay money for, and all that. That's more my focus. But still, there's sometimes when you look, you're like, wait, I definitely remember that was not that expensive. And that was one of them, right? And it's crazy because talking to Bailey's dad yesterday, who is friends and neighbors with a guy who owns some Chick-fil-A's, and he was like, yeah, those milkshakes used to be like $4 and something cents. I think it was like 4 years ago, and now they're literally, around, I guess, 750. So not 750, whatever that is, $11 cut into maybe like six something. So yeah, crazy. Literally the price of like a meal you get a milkshake for. But that's just where we're at with things. And that's why you got to make sure that you're putting your money to work for you in markets, and you are learning AI and learning how to utilize and monetize it, and also put yourself in a position where you are invaluable, right? In the position that you hold, right? Kaizen. Kaizen, baby. And also same thing with AIM, right? So for my AIM people, if you haven't gotten in there and done that first assignment, watch that mini masterclass and make sure you do that, because we're continuing our AI learning and leveling up from here. Now, so yeah, that was good, dovish. When I say good, I just mean like dovish news in terms of like things that most people want to happen, which is interest rates going down, and Powell kind of loosening the reins a little bit and saying that it looks good. We're headed toward our goal. I think we're going to accomplish it, and we don't want to hold for too long. That's really the best thing that you could hear, especially off the back of the data that we just got and kind of how the markets price that in terms of not just one cut, but maybe even multiple cuts this year. Now, automotive news, speed limiters. All new cars sold in the European Union must be fitted with new safety technology that tracks speed and limits it when needed, according to new rules that went into effect this month. The intelligent speed assistance system will automatically ensure that drivers do not exceed speed limits through AI, GPS, sensors, and cameras. I mean, I get it. It like is probably safer overall, but still scary. Also, it's like it defeats the purpose of getting a sports car. I mean, I get it. You're not supposed to be driving those cars that fast anyways, but it's like, man, it's feeling like if someone wants to just stop your car, they can. And there's already a lot of computing power involved in cars, right? Tons more than used to be in even supercomputers way back in the day. But I don't know. It's just sketchy. And the thing is, with full self-driving and all that becoming a thing, this would be a part of that. So it shouldn't really be that scary, right? Like the fact that something is ensuring that you go the speed limit, because when we get to full self-driving in vehicles, which we will, they won't go above the speed limit. So it's like this shouldn't be that shocking, but it's still a little bit unsettling, right? And that's why whenever you get news, you want to like parse through it just like I did live, where you see something, you're like, oh, that makes me a little uncomfortable. It's like actually that it is pretty par for the course given how things are going. And that breakdown, right? That mindset, that way that you process information is where you want to get. Same thing with like Tesla a few days ago. Tesla drops, right? Because of some robo-taxi news, and but Tesla had broken out. It hadn't even dropped past, retracement of the breakout level. It's still looking completely fine, right? This is all still good according to plan. Those are the kind of thoughts that you want to have in order to stop you from, making rash decisions and making sure that you are understanding things in a way that actually makes sense when you process the information, instead of just being like, oh no, fear of what? Oh, well, now that you think about it, I don't really know, right? Probably not actually constructive fear. And then you're able to operate a little bit more level headed. So, how effective would this be? The European Court of Auditors recently said the EU's measures won't lead to fewer deaths as implementation is weakened and Europeans replace their cars less often. While the US does not have such measures in place, California recently passed a bill mandating passive speed limiters. So today's markets, as of right now, in Asia, Japan up 0.2%, Hong Kong, or as of 30 minutes ago, 40 minutes ago. Hong Kong down 1.6%, China up 0.1%, India up 0.1, London down 0.3, Paris down 0.8, Frankfurt down 0.5, the Dow flat, S&P up 0.1, Nasdaq up 0.2, crude down 1%, gold up 0.7, Bitcoin up 1.3% as crypto starts to get it moving. What else is happening? Earnings, Goldman Sachs tops estimates and hikes dividend. That paid some of us here in the stock options made easy community, right? Goldman Sachs, one of the banks I talked about a few weeks ago, breaking out, got the breakout, pushed, and then paid, right? Paid very nicely yesterday. Google Wiz deal could be shot across the bow at these firms. Report Apple's ticker Apple, AAPL, annual sales in India climbed to record 8 billion. Macy's shelved acquisition weighs on department store stocks. U-turn, BlackRock's Larry Fink calls Bitcoin digital gold. He's changed his tune. That can happen, right? Cybertruck to your Tesla outsells the F-150. Robo-taxi delay explained. Solar stocks drop as Solar Edge announces more layoffs. Start again. Layoffs will only continue. Called this trend a year and a half ago, right? 2 years ago, it was only picking up with the proliferation of AI. So don't expect that to change anytime soon. Don't expect to just hope to continue to be the person that's dodging the layoffs. You might dodge the first, second, third, fourth, fifth round, right? But they will continue as AI implementation continues, and then those AIs grow in their capability, right? You're like, oh no, my job is good. Your job could be good for 1 week. And I'm not saying this to scare anybody. I'm saying this just because that is how it's going, right? That is how it's going. How do I know? I'm literally doing it. Right, I am literally doing it as part of what we do in the as consultants, right, with Holland and Holland. Part of the VIP day that I went over with a client this past Sunday, right, is we're going through and doing a full organizational audit. These are people you need. These are people that you don't need. these are the automated systems, AI automations, and bots that I can construct to help these other people do their jobs better, and then honestly either move these people somewhere else or get rid of them, right? And this is something every single company is looking to do, and it's not a bad thing. It's making companies more streamlined, right? It's making companies that have struggled in the past, they can finally get over that revenue plateau. Because to be honest, you got to keep people around that are valuable, and other people who aren't valuable, you got to get rid of them because they're just holding you back. So this is just how it goes, right? It's part of natural selection, part of the way the world goes. There is no milkman anymore, right? There are a lot of professions that come and go. You just got to make sure that you're positioning yourself, on the right side of things to continue to provide value in a way that's monetizable. And then Starboard calls on Match Group to fix tender or go private. Then yield curve, US 30-year jumps above US 2-year for first time since January. Speaking of those bank stocks, we have Bank of America do well in earnings, right? Pop after that. So banks continue to do their thing, continuing to pay us those long swing positions and those share positions, continuing to crush it, right? If you're here, you see it happen in real time. I've been on BAC since the start of the year, and if you check BAC's chart, it has been crushing it the whole time since like last November. It has been absolutely crushing it, bit by bit, little by little. After taking years forming this bullish pattern, it's breaking out, continuing to break out, and continuing to pay us over and over and over again. You can do six figures this year in trading, just trading BAC, hands down, right? Hands down. And some of us here probably will, right? So make sure that you are in an environment where you are not only told explicitly of the opportunities, but also how to leverage them. Don't say there's so much available for you. I say there's so much available. Here's where it is. Here's how you leverage it. This is where you take profit. It cannot get more straightforward than that. So if you want it, it's out there for you. Come get it. Make sure that you're getting 1% better every single day. Kaizen, right? That's the philosophy. Not to be unbeatable, but to be unstoppable. You either win or you learn. So let's continue to win and learn this week. Make sure that we remain humble, remain patient, and execute. When the time comes. So everybody have a great rest of your day. I'll see you back here tomorrow morning for our next pre-market prep session. Have a good one.